Poducer.
Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to Poducer, the podcast for producers. I'm your host, Jerry, and today we're joined by Shami. Or do you want to do the full artist name?
I go by Shami Sosa, but people call me Shami.
I just
call you
Shami.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Please.
So, Shami, this is the most broad question I'll ask you is, what do you do?
Sure.
What are the hats that you wear?
Yeah, definitely a few hats, especially these days.
The Orchid hat.
Yo, shout out to Bradley over at Telepathic Instruments. He kind of hooked me up with this hat. We struck up a conversation with him, but
and we got a little special surprise. You brought over the Orchid, which is thank you for doing that. We got it hooked up, so we'll play some sounds from there just as a special treat.
Yeah, Shami. I go by Shami Sosa as well. I guess it's just mainly a media producer. All things media. I worked for a major network for several years. Love making music. So music production is definitely a big part of my life.
Artist.
Yeah.
Well.
I guess.
A lot of hats, dude.
Sure.
A lot of hats.
Sure. I'm a dad, proud father, husband, son, friend, but chiller.
Yeah, like
professional chiller for sure. And
parallel play.
Yes. So the owner operator of Parallel Play, which is a learning center and listening room in Humboldt Park, Chicago. So we opened our doors in September of 2025. So fairly new. It's been about 6 months now. We host pop-ups for curate events. We host pop-ups for the community.
It's a really cool space.
Dude, I appreciate that. It was dope that you came through to the set swap. It was our first producer focused
shout
event.
out B4 Lasers and Backpack Beats and everyone, I guess, who was behind the scenes with that. Dope spot. You also got the Synth on My Sleeve.
Yes.
That's your clothing company?
Synth on My Sleeve. Yeah, so that's my brand. I started in 2024, pretty much the beginning of 2024. I tapped in with this clothing manufacturing company. They're based out in Karachi, Pakistan. That's actually where my family's from. They're from Pakistan.
Oh, cool. I
was born and raised here in Chicago. But I tapped in with this company called Seventh Earth Studios. Basically, they've been my exclusive supplier of blanks.
Oh.
And then I've been a brand ambassador of theirs for about a year, maybe 2 years now. It's cool to make things. I've always just felt at peace when I was creating something.
You do a lot of stuff. Like I've seen you, filming stuff. You went to NAMM recently with Fess. Really love to get into that just because I have a lot of questions about like these trade shows.
Of course. I started taking photos when I was super young, when the first kind of digital cameras came out. My mom and father were big on filming things. I always saw my dad with one of those bigger VHS cameras. My mom always had like a Canon film camera. Really big on taking pictures. That kind of rubbed off on me. Love taking pictures of my friends. Love taking just videos and stuff like that. I used to skateboard, so
nice.
Just making skate videos, stuff like that.
Those fisheye lenses.
Yo, for sure.
But yeah, man, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you the question that I ask everyone, which is, what was your first concert that you went to?
So my first concert that I've been to, it's a good question. So I guess this can be answered in like two different ways. There was always like the concerts that like my family forced me to go to, like
exactly
like the Bollywood show that came to Chicago. Because like in India and Pakistan, well, I'm from Pakistan. My family is from Pakistan, but in India, the one of the biggest like the film industry is so big there. So my family was into Bollywood films. They would always be on, like, in the background. sometimes I'd get into it if the story was, good. So yeah, I guess one of those shows was maybe the first concert that I've been to. But
did they do like a live kind of reenactment of the movie?
So a lot of times in these movies, there will be like there will be a different singer, but then the actor kind of lip sings it.
Right.
Like the main actors.
There's a lot of singing.
There's a lot of singing and like the dancing parts in these films. So I believe the first show was like a Bollywood type show, but like the first concert that I went to and like bought a ticket for and went with my friends, I believe was Non-Point, which was a new metal band.
Cool.
So during the early 2000s, I think this was like 2001.
New metal.
Yeah, like so like Incubus and all that.
Disturbed and
for sure. I was definitely into that. I mean, I grew up on hip hop, but as I was getting older, just kind of getting into different genres, new metal was one of the genres that I liked. So like back when Q101 was a pretty big radio station here in Chicago. Yeah, man, just to kind of expanding my palette and different kinds of music. Linkin Park kind of came around that same time.
So good, yeah.
So which was using elements of hip hop.
Right,
have a DJ, Limp Bizkit, stuff like that.
Yeah, they had Mr. Han.
Yo, Mr. Han.
I love the Mr. Han tracks on
Mr. Han
on the albums.
Yes, the ones that he would just had, like they gave him the track.
Yeah, he was just scratching. Yeah, it felt like some like Aphex Twin
for sure
scratching thing.
No, for sure.
Mr. Han. Yeah.
So like that was really when rock groups were starting to have DJs, I was kind of allured by that whole by that whole thing. So yeah, I want to say it was Non-Point at the Metro with two of my childhood friends, man. We did the mosh pit, we did all that, and then I went to an Incubus concert not too long after that. But
how old were you?
I was probably.
If you had to guess.
Yeah, so if I had to guess, so this was 2000. So I was probably like about 14, 15 years old.
Nice. Yeah. That's cool that you like, because sometimes those are like, 17 plus or like 21 plus.
Yeah,
but
I think this was an all ages show actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it was a dope time, man. We did the whole mosh pit thing. But yeah, so it was Non-Point. If I have to be totally honest, yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I got really sucked into this guy's channel the other day on Instagram, and he's just doing these DJ mashups with like Evanescence or like Disturbed or Limp Bizkit with like hip hop tracks. And man, I gotta send you some of them. The guy's name is called Here Canvas or something. He's got like 2 million views, 2 million subscribers on Instagram. He's definitely doesn't need the shout out, but I don't know what it is. Like mashups, I typically look at it and I'm like, I know how to DJ, or I know how to do that. But for some reason, this guy he has them dialed and they sound perfect with the songs.
I mean, certain mashups, man, like it's just a different way of hearing your favorite songs. So if they're dialed in and if they're hidden right, it can definitely be quite the experience, man, for sure.
I mean, I remember like when some of the early electronic music I listened to was like Girl Talk or Super Mash Bros was another one. People that was like music, which it is music. It just was the mashup era. And now people look back on there like, they're not really like making it. But
I used to play this 50 Cent In the Club 9 Inch Nails mashup that would just always like get the crowd like going. So I would always feel like super cool when I'd play that.
You're like, this is a good one.
Yeah.
There was a XX Biggie like entire album that my friends would always play, and that was a classic as well. But actually, I thought, before we talk about NAMM, because like I really want to talk about that. I'm trying to keep this concise.
Sure.
I thought it'd be kind of cool before we get too into it to maybe just like fuck around with the Orchid and show off some of the sounds.
Yeah, let's do it.
Like, Yeah.
I think it's turned it on. So yeah, this is the Orchid here from Telepathic Instruments, from Kevin from Tame Impala. So they sent this over to me to kind of make content with. And yeah, you know, a lot of cool sounds for sure. Let's see.
And it's got like...
So it's like an idea generator, right?
And it's got like 6 or 7 keys on it, right? Or 10 keys maybe?
Yeah, no, not many keys. I mean, you can obviously kind of go down the octaves, but tons of sounds that, you know, they're always updating as well. My favorite one is actually this one here.
That's just incredible.
Yeah, this is just like, this is such a beautiful sounding, yeah, synth, really. They really dialed in the presets for sure. Basically, when you play a key, you can hold down one of these minor, major buttons, and it'll strum a whole chord. Built-in looper, which is cool. Really nice arpeggiations. Has this cool bass feature, so you can go to different bass noises.
I noticed that it's playing the bass note. And
you can turn that off. You can keep it on, so this is with it off. But I usually like to keep it. Yeah.
God, does it have the delay built in there?
So yeah, it does have built-in effects too. So this current preset has like enough delay programmed into it. You can kind of turn that off, dial it in. There are a few different there's a reverb, there's a tremolo, filter. Also has like you know, you can even do like
it's got a little
drum loops too.
Okay.
Which is pretty cool. So it's like, you know, a lot of you can filter through different kinds of drums.
It's got a cool aesthetic too. It looks like a piece that you just want to have on your desk.
Yeah, you know, it has that retro look, the all black keys. It's a loud unit. It's surprisingly loud. So
yeah, we got it plugged in direct right now, but I heard it with the speakers kind of.
Yeah, speakers are decently sounding for sure. But I was just surprised at how, like, you know, when you plug it into your system, a lot of synths when you see it at this size, like, you gotta kind of crank it up. But this one, like, halfway, it was like bumping pretty loud.
Nice.
So I feel like they made it in for both studio and kind of live performances as well, especially with that built-in looper.
Does it play in a key, or does it just is that another option?
So yeah, it does have a whole key knob that you can actually change to different notes, different keys, where you can just be like a grand wizard kind of playing anything.
Like good for all ages, you know? It's
absolutely. So my daughter definitely, she's 2.5. She definitely gets kind of a kick out of this, just kind of messing with it. It's pretty solidly built too. And yeah, again, sought after right now. So I don't really think you can just like buy it online per se anymore. Well, from the company, from
like eBay or
secondhand you can purchase it, but it has that kind of heftier price tag now. I think it's going for like 1,000 on Reverb. I purchased it for about 600. So
I love like that, and like the OP1 or something, like those are just like fun little idea generators.
Exactly. And then even, you know, especially with the OP1, you know, you only have 4 tracks, so it's sometimes having limitations, you know, breeds creativity.
For sure.
When you have too many options, sometimes it's harder to get creative. What you do with the gear you have, you know, you don't necessarily need to have like the newest or the hottest gear. I don't really know how to play music like in a, classic sense.
No, I'm trash.
Yeah.
Like I can get chords, but
Sure.
like I'm like going chord to chord to chord,
Yeah.
not so much.
But I love making melodies, and I kind of I feel like I have a a trained ear, and like I know it sounds good in a sense. So I think that's a big part of the whole process is knowing what sound that sounds cheap, and this sounds much more lush and expensive. That's too stock sounding, and this sounds there's a realism behind this preset that you can kind of dial in more. And that's just from just listening to a lot of music.
Probably listen to a lot of gear too.
Listening to a lot of gear as well. Some sounds are thin. And then you really have to like put them through some VSTs to kind of beef them up, and have to do some processing to them. But some sounds, just sound really dope, just right out, presets, man. Like I never hate on presets at all. So
yeah, well, thank you for bringing that over. That was a fun little, we don't normally have gear, but I know you're like kind of in that world, and I guess this is a good way to, segue into, going to these trade shows, testing out what they have at them. How did you get into that?
I guess I'll start from my first kind of NAMM show experience was back in 2020, and I was working for a company called TexWatt Amps. I was basically, they hired my agency to kind of help with their marketing. They developed a guitar amp from Austin, Texas. And this was the guitar world, so this is a whole different side of NAMM. Like, it wasn't really my cup of tea in terms of the music I was into, but that was my first NAMM show experience going with this company, TexWatt Amps, and that was back in 2020, in January of 2020. So right before kind of everything kind of changed after that.
Shami, you can grab it here and pull it down if it's a little hot. Yeah, there, that's
right
good.
There.
That's perfect.
Perfect. Cool. Yeah. So 2020 NAMM was my first experience going to that show, and that was just through my kind of marketing agency called Emerald Resources, which I started in 2019.
Another hat.
Yeah, another hat.
We've uncovered another.
So flash forward a bit. I'm working with different organizations, different companies. Didn't really tap into the music manufacturing world per se. I mean, I was making music. I owned gear. My first synth was a Korg, Micro Korg 1, so the vocoder, and that's me and one of my best friends. He goes by a modern composer. His name is Sonny. He's like my childhood friend. We both like went halves on that. But again, never really imagined that I'd be working with the companies at all. Like that was never something that was on my radar. I mean, obviously I always wanted to, but yeah, locked in with Fess. We met kind of randomly. So like the first time we met, I was actually selling gear on Craigslist. If people are familiar with that, like, it used to be a big marketplace before the reverbs
and Facebook marketplace.
Before Facebook marketplace, for sure. Before like social media was so fine tuned. Yeah, I would sell, certain things I wasn't, using anymore. And I believe I sold them an interface. So that's when we first actually kind of like met. Just sold him an interface, went our separate ways. He actually reminded me later, like, yo, I think I bought like an interface off you. And I was like, dude, yeah, I think you did. Like he named the model. And I was like, yo, that's true. And it was just really like, yo, funny. But he was working with Reverb. So working with Reverb, you're kind of, there's a world of companies that you're kind of tapped into. Right around that time, my agency was, we were getting much more experience working with all kinds of different companies, making professional content. Yeah, just tapped in with Bess, and like I said, he opened up a lot of doors for me. He invited me to ADE in 2023. That's when we collabed with Reverb and Reason for the DJ Pierre workshop. Hit it off with the Reason team. They invited me back in 2024. Started working with them. I have a studio space at Fort Knox Studios, which is on like the northwest side of Chicago.
Yeah.
So I used to be in a band called the Field Recorders. We were like an electronic trio. There were also guitars in the band too, so we all played multiple instruments. And that was our rehearsal space for quite some time. Band went separate ways. I kind of took over the space, turned it into a kind of a pre-production, post-production kind of studio. Just a place where I can kind of just like make beats and like, you know, be loud and invite homies over and just like, you know, jam out. Right next door to that is a office space, like a shared office space called 2112.
Yep.
It's like an entertainment incubator.
That's great.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I became a member there. And that basically opened up a world of other like-minded individuals who were in the music business, entertainment industry. So right around that time is when I started my agency. And then I think Festus kind of randomly came to one of the events that 2112, the office space there was having. Yeah, we just kind of started talking. We DJ'd together, or not DJ, we performed together at California Clipper, because right around that time I started getting back into doing live performances, taking my hardware out. Yeah, so we did a show together at California Clipper, kind of hit it off, introduced him to some of the things I was doing in terms of the cinematography and like media production. Right around that time I was working as an associate producer for CBS. So yeah, just learning a lot from working at the network. Worked on an Emmy award-winning show called Destination, which is a nationally syndicated show. It's basically kind of a travel type show. I would go around interviewing different business owners, how they got their start. It would be me and like a team of 2 camera operators. So we'd go to different businesses, 2 shoots a day. Really learned a lot in terms of learning how to produce a TV show. In a sense, we had 2 shoots a day, dealing with different personalities. So I gained a lot.
Were you kind of coordinating that, like as the producer? Because like you had your camera guys.
Yeah.
Right?
So basically, the logistics of it was handled by the network, but basically they would give me a call sheet. You got to be at these 2 different locations. Sometimes they were close by. Sometimes it took a little bit of driving, all in the Chicagoland area. But basically as the producer, I would have to set up the shots. I would have to make sure they looked good. Are we getting the right angles? How's the lighting look? I'd be the one interviewing the business owner. Does the business owner feel comfortable? The camera, I didn't have to operate the cameras per se, but it was kind of all on me in terms of like, if there was an issue, it fell back on the producer.
Yeah.
I would have all the
shots.
I was calling the shots. I had all the gear, so I would travel with the gear. The camera operator would just kind of come and then set it up, but I was in charge of like holding everything down, sending the footage back to LA for editing. So we would physically like mail out the hard drives
Really?
Yeah. So this was 4K footage. So like, just sending files of that size over a cloud, you would need like a super fast internet line that a lot of times we didn't have.
So it was faster just mail it.
It was faster just to mail it. We'd obviously have to back it up on a central on a central hard drive just in case, but for the most part, we would shuttle it back to the editing team that was based out in LA, and then they would edit it and then send it out to the network. But it was my job to basically make sure the shots looked good, make sure the client was comfortable, make sure that, you know, all the equipment was accounted for, the footage was backed up. So I learned a lot just for media management, just dealing with different personalities.
Dude, I feel like that's like what I'm doing sometimes. Like a lot of times I try to get people in here because it's like just basically I push record. But I have done some where I go to people and I'm like, I got all my gear. I got to make sure everyone's comfortable, set up the chair, set up the shot. And it's like, I feel like that's kind of what you were doing. I'm just doing it DIY, I guess.
Sure. No,
that's, I mean, sick though.
The crown is heavy out there for sure.
It's tough. You got to make sure that everything's working. Because the worst is like something gets fucked up. And like, dude,
there were times where footage got lost. There were times, and there was other producers that were working on the show, that worked the show too. So I worked on that for a few seasons. Yeah, you know, we won an Emmy, which was awesome.
That's so sick. Yeah, that's on your thing now.
That's on my thing. So that was definitely, again, opened up some doors for me as well. So everything was kind of happening at the same time. You know, I was working with this major network. Fest was tapped in with Reverb. He kind of saw what I was doing. He invited me to Open Beats, which is a producer showcase. I think they're 10 years now.
Yeah.
They've been going on for about 10 years.
Yeah, shout out Open Beats.
For real.
One of the best.
Yeah, shout out to Fest Grandiose, Open Beats, everyone that kind of puts that night together every last Friday at Dorian's.
Uncle L.
Yeah, Uncle L. Absolutely. Yeah. All the producers out there. I know there's people that are even like driving in from different states. You know, they'll have cats coming in from Milwaukee, Indiana, Wisconsin, just to kind of, you know, bedroom producers, just to have a kind of a guaranteed crowd. And yeah, just showcase their music, which was super inspiring for me to see him kind of organizing that. Invited me out to Amsterdam in 2023 for ADE. And then, yeah, just kind of, again, tapped in with...
You kind of his go-to guy now for like... He goes out there, does his thing. You're like,
sure.
Let me hook you up with some footage.
Yeah. No, that's my brother, man. I guess if that's how you want to put it, yeah, I'm his go-to guy in terms of anything media. I mean, we're producing a podcast right now called Gear and Games.
Sick. I want to be on it.
Yo, please, anytime. We've kind of went through our pilot episodes. We want to come up with a regular schedule of filming. Schedules have been a bit hectic as of late, but definitely something I'm super excited about. We film it at Parallel Play. Yep. Which is kind of everything kind of coming full circle there. Co-host is Show You Suck, Clinton, a legendary artist, rapper from Chicago. Makes really dope music. I'm a big fan of his as well. It's just super cool, down-to-earth cat. And yeah, they talk about music gear and video games, and
that's like literally perfect for me.
Yeah.
I always say music is video games 2.0 for me.
Sure.
Like it was video games, and now it's like it's still buttons.
Yeah,
you know?
No, there's a lot of overlap there.
Yeah,
especially with you know, soundtracks for video games are
some
insane.
Of my favorite. Yeah,
like the Final Fantasy.
I was gonna say the Japanese stuff.
Dude,
there's a playlist. I've been trying to do better about like shouting out people. His name's Mike something. I'll look it up, but he's got a playlist and it's called Save Point, and it's just like all these loading music. They're like from video games. I don't know. I just put it on and I'm like, this is great. But yeah, sorry, you were talking about the pod.
No, that is dope. Yeah, again, a lot of overlap between
dude's name is Mike Sunday. Just so people can go check it out.
Go tap in. Yeah, so again, a lot of overlap between video games and music production. A lot of times there's a common interest there. I mean, I used to play Final Fantasy kind of growing up. Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8.
You play the remake?
I did play the remake, actually. I gotta like kind of dive back into it. I stopped playing it. I got too busy, but I need to pick that back up for sure when I get time. The remake is super dope, but you know, the music, I was always just so inspired by these soundtracks, the sound design. I'm really into this game called Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Which is like, you know, I pretty much the only video game that I really play these days. So when there's a new one that comes out, I'll kind of pause everything and like.
There is a new one coming out. It looks crazy.
Requiem. Yeah, I'm stoked about that for sure. Yeah, that's like the only pretty much video game that I'll like go out, purchase, and like play it from start to finish. I guess I'm into the lore of that game.
Yeah, the Umbrella.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played, I feel like the one that I really should have played was 4, because like that probably would have been the age where it like made sense. But
sure,
I actually think the first one I played was 5, the one in Africa.
Okay.
That's a great game. I mean, Resident Evil is solid.
Solid game, for sure. Survival horror is the name of the genre.
I love Dead Space.
Yes, Dead Space.
That's such a good one.
And you know, the sound design for these games are quite incredible. So I always feel like that kind of shaped my interest in just Sonics. And
dude, the amount of people that come on this podcast and are like inspired by video games, say that they would love to score a video game one day, do the sound design, it's like a lot of people. There's gotta be like the pipeline, like the video game to music making pipeline is strong.
Sure, no, for sure. But yeah, so then through that, I know I'm kind of we're going all over the place here, but that's kind of how I connected with these companies through FES. 2112 is that incubator that my studio is right next to, that I became a member of. They have a great relationship with Shure, which is also a Chicago company. So I went out to NAMM last year working with Shure and doing content for them. We did this pretty cool video with Jacob Collier, who's like this music prodigy.
Did you get to meet him?
I got to meet him. We filmed a video.
He's like, okay, what do I have to do? And
he's like, oh, I'm here with Shure.
Yeah,
my first microphone was. But super cool cat. Yeah, dude, he has quite the fan base, man. It was Shure's 100-year anniversary. So they had a huge footprint in last year's in the 2025 NAMM. So they had him come by and do a live performance at the booth where he was making a song in real time by taking like a recording of the audience and like a recording of like singers who were coming in earlier in the day and like recording vocals. And he made a track in real time. My business partner and I, his name is Ryan Cassell. He has a sister agency called Castle Light Productions. Super dope, super talented cinematographer. We kind of joined forces on like bigger clients. So in terms of getting the project where it needs to be, we'll utilize each other's skill sets and kind of join forces on that. He has his own client base as well. I have my own. But for some of these passion projects and these bigger names, we'll kind of join forces and get the product out. That was a crazy experience, man. He actually had in the audience was like one of his stalkers. There was like a stalker who follows Jacob Collier around.
Like not a good stalker.
Not a good stalker. No, it was kind of like a creepy dude. And during the performance, like you can hear this guy. He's actually in the video that we shot. Like you see him like lurking in the audience.
Ooh.
Total like it's just and Jacob was telling us, he's like, yeah, man, like people follow me around, after these gigs. I have security. Luckily, security was there and they were like on it. But he was there was a stalker in the audience. that was quite interesting to kind of witness.
See that happening with him because he's so engaging with his audience. I'm sure I've never been to a Jacob Collier show, but I know he's always making the audience like his choir, and I bet you there's some weird connection that happens when you do that.
Sure. Yeah. Sometimes unwanted connection.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I guess so. Yeah.
As well. But yeah, that was interesting. So we worked with Shure last year. And Fess was there. He was at the Korg booth working with Korg on the Handy Tracks turntable that they released in, I don't know if it was partnership with Vestex, but they had worked with Vestex when Vestex was, around, before they kind of disengaged in a sense, or stopped.
I'm not familiar with what did they predominantly make.
So Vestex was a Japanese company, very prominent in the early 2000s, maybe mid 2000s, like 2010s, I want to say as well. They actually kind of designed the first DJ controller as well. They used to work with DJ Qbert and the Invisible Scratch Pickles. So a lot of turntablists would utilize Vestex gear because it was like kind of made for the DJ. I mean, you have techniques and whatnot, but Vestex was for like the scratch DJ in a sense. So like a turntablist. So Korg had some kind of partnership with them way back when. They developed this turntable, which was finally released recently. And they give a shout out to Vestex too. Like they talk about Vestex and how they had a input from them. Fess was working that booth. I was like dead tired. I didn't even want, like I went back, I was done with the Shure shoot. Wasn't even going to go visit Fess because I was just like too tired. And then something just told me like, you know what? Let me just make this walk over. Let me go say what's up to my guy. Even though we were going to meet later for like, dinner or something. I just was like, yo, let me just like, I was on my like third or fourth wind. So like, I was like, okay, let's go. So I went over, linked up with Fess, and it just so happened to be the CMO of Korg was there for Korg US. And man, Fess is he's just that guy who'll just like, introduce you to the right people. He doesn't gatekeep at all. He doesn't, he will connect people, the right people that he believes in. So right then and there, he just, hey, this is Shami. He makes sick content. He's just did this thing with Shure. You got to tap in with him. And then the CMO was just like, oh, sure. Okay. Here's my card. I waited about a week later to email, just followed up with an email, set my artistic deck with some of the brands that I worked with before, my reel. And yeah, then they gave me a contract shortly after to do product testing and to create content for the Korg USA team. And again, it was just kind of on a whim that I even kind of went there, but it definitely paid off because I've been working with Korg closely for a little over a year now. They invited me to this NAMM 2026, which I just got back from a few days ago. So I was working their booth and just creating content. They had like this soundproof-ish booth with a lot of their new gear there. I was actually able to meet Tatsuya Takahashi, aka,
I saw that they designed that new.
So Korg Berlin is like, I want to say they're like the R&D department of Korg. This Cat Tats, engineer of the Korg Volca series, which I'm a big fan of.
The little guys. The
little guys that all kind of sync up to each other. There's like a sampler. There's like a kick drum that's just like only a kick drum. There's Volca keys. So I'm big on the Korg Volcas. I performed at North Coast Fest. I want to say, I think it was 2023.
The Chill Dome.
In the Chill Dome. Yes. I performed in the Chill Dome using the Volcas.
Yeah, and you were telling me that you have like a suitcase.
Sure.
And it just has everything, like a K-oscillator.
Yeah, I have a Chaos pad in there, and then I have all my vocals like Velcroed into the suitcase that kind of opens up. So it looks kind of cool. I did a video on it in collaboration with Korg, kind of just talking about it and how I built it, how I use it for live performances. The first time I actually took it out was at North Coast Fest at the Chill Dome. I showed that to their engineer of the units, and he was pretty, he thought that was pretty cool. But the big thing that they're doing right now is this thing called a Phase 8, which is a acoustic synthesizer, kind of a world's first kind of unit. But basically it's a groove box. It's a groove box format, but it has these steel resonators that get triggered by like these electromagnetic pulses that gives you different tones. And there's a sequencer. It syncs in with your other gear. You can actually put physical items on these steel resonators to kind of change the whole sound. Very interesting.
Kind of reminds me of, I think we were talking about this too, like when, I forget what the word is called, but they put things on piano strings.
Yes.
Intentionally to kind of get them to like ring in a certain way. I forget what the word is. It's like something piano, tempered piano. I don't know. Anyway.
Similar theory for sure. So yeah, we got a chance. So they unveiled it at NAMM 2026 a few weeks ago, about a week ago. But it's been in development for quite some time. I want to say 5 or 6 years it's been in development. That was really cool to kind of get a hands-on experience with that. Finally meet the Korg Berlin team.
Sick. I did just figure out what it's called. It's called Prepared Piano, and it was pioneered by John Cage in 1938. And they put like objects on the strings. This feels kind of like, because you can put whatever you want on that unit, right? And it gets different timbres and stuff.
Different timbres. You can put wooden blocks on it. Rocks, pretty much anything. So
whatever you got on your desk,
your set of keys.
Can you imagine explaining that to someone? They're like, how'd you get the sound? You're like, I actually just had like my mouse and I just put it on this instrument. They're like, what?
Yo, I mean, it's an interesting way to make music, but I kind of felt like every company's coming out with like a new synth. This was cool to see something different. I know it won quite a bit of awards too. I think it won like NAMM's award for like kind of gear of the year or whatever.
Innovative gear.
Innovative gear award. So that was really cool to finally see it in action, talk to the principal engineer, meet the Korg Berlin team. I mean, super love for the Korg USA team as well. There was a lot of cool gear that Korg introduced. There's a new Chaos pad that they introduced. Obviously, the Micro Korg 2 was there. I did a lot of product testing for that synth. So I had it pretty much early before it was even released to the public. Just kind of testing it, making videos on it, pushing it hard. So it was definitely a great experience to work with them.
Do you get to have like some, I know there's some creative freedom, but like, can you kind of just, they probably want you to highlight the good, right? So like when you do a testing and maybe the public side, it's like, you try to show like cool features and maybe get back to them like, hey, this is a little buggy, maybe this like
yeah, they just want like honest input in regards to the product. Anything that I would officially release and officially publish, I obviously want to show it in a good light. Mm-hmm. So all those communications are like in-house communications that we'll have with the company. But for the most part, they give me some free reign to kind of be creative. And make the videos, make the review videos, or just make the product videos kind of the way I want.
So that's such a big thing in this day and age. It's like, hey, let's get someone who's making cool content, knows how to put a video together, and let's tap in with them to get like their honest reaction.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly feel part of the whole contract and them kind of me joining with Korg was the fact that I did know how to produce a video and produce content in a certain professional aesthetic. That was probably a bigger selling point to them than my actual technical ability with the actual synthesizer or instrument. I think in this day and age, you just have to wear many different hats. You have to be your creative director. You're the artist. You have to be the video director. You have to be the editor.
Hate that part.
Yeah, I know for sure. I mean, I edit all my things, all my stuff too. Not always by choice, but I definitely had to learn to edit different techniques. Is there a corporate side of that world? For sure. Do they look at engagement on videos? Do they try to give in some input on, hey, it should start a certain way?
Gotta have a hook.
It's gotta have a hook. Certain sound effects in a sense to kind of keep people engaged. Quicker cuts. But these are all things I kind of just learned by just viewing social media and just seeing videos and just learning what works and learning what didn't. Why some videos have higher engagement than others.
That's an interesting point when you look at like what does better. For a while, and maybe it is when you start out, it's kind of random what does well and what the algorithm picks up, but for a while I was like, man, everything just doesn't do well because it's the algorithm. And then you start doing enough stuff and you realize there are formulas that do work and the better videos do get pushed.
Sure.
So there is a fairness to it. I mean, unless you get like somehow shadow banned or something happens, it's like a whole other thing.
That's definitely a whole nother conversation.
But I do feel like there is a sentiment that the cream rises to the top, like that if that's the expression. But for a while I didn't feel like it was fair. I was like, man, I'm putting all this work into my videos. Why aren't they working?
No, for sure. That definitely has something to do with the algorithms as well. I mean, one thing that I'm kind of discovering is even simple technical aspects about your camera. So I know we kind of spoke about this earlier. Social media platforms are pushing content that's filmed in 10-bit color, which is a whole nother kind of angle to kind of slice this as well.
Didn't realize that. So, like HDR.
Exactly. Type. So a lot of cameras, a lot of older cameras, I'll have homies kind of say like, Shami, how come your content looks different? Or how come like...
It's just funny. We use the same camera, right? Well, maybe for some other stuff you use some other stuff.
Yeah, no, I think we do. Similar Sony Alphas. But I think, and this might even be a theory of mine, but content that's shot in 10-bit color gets pushed by the algorithm if it's edited well, obviously. Much more than a camera that's shot with like a lower bit color. So like 8-bit colors may not be as pushed as much because it just doesn't look as new.
Okay. this is a very interesting thing, because I've been hearing a lot people say like, I don't even want my stuff to look too good because I want it to look authentic.
Yeah.
And like there are tons of videos out there that are just filmed on your phone. They look like your phone and they do incredibly well because they're either funny or whatever. They have that sauce. But I feel like it's kind of a cop-out to just be like, no, I want it to look bad. It's like, you don't want it to look bad.
There is that aesthetic that videos have now where it's like you're not trying too hard or it's not overproduced. But I kind of think if it matters on what the subject matter is. So if it's gear, if you're in the gear world and you're doing product shots, I feel the algorithm, it kind of, it's able to, disseminate what niche you're in, and it's gotten smart enough to push it in that way. So for example, if I was doing skate video per se, maybe if it was overproduced it may not work, but it all kind of depends on what niche market or what general market that you're in. Again, this is kind of a theory of mine, but I'm just kind of going off what I've experienced, working with these different companies, and seeing what's gotten more engagement and what hasn't.
Yeah, I feel like if you're filming a piece of gear, you want it to look crisp. You want it to look like shiny and a toy that you want to pick up and play.
Exactly. You want to show those details.
Mm-hmm.
So no, yeah, and that's just something that I kind of learned as I've been kind of creating more content and just working with different companies, all with their own, company cultures and whatnot, mission statements.
Dude, it's super cool. Like, I feel like now that you're like in kind of the NAMM convention world, whatever circuit, I really want to like know a little bit more about like how these shows run. Like, you get there, what do you do first? Are you like, I got to go check out the booths, or like you're working, so like, okay, I gotta work first, and then I want to go check out these booths.
Sure. Like, NAMM is so high traffic. It's so many different companies. I mean, a lot of up and coming brands or music tech companies, I'm not even sure they think NAMM is even worth it for them anymore, because a lot of times they're getting overshadowed by the bigger companies with the bigger booths, for example. But what's interesting is these last couple years, I believe about 3 years ago, there's like this up and coming convention called Buchla and Friends that is held in LA, much smaller scale, but a lot of emerging brands, Kickstarters are actually cutting out NAMM and doing this other convention where they it's not as pricey. They have
because a NAMM ticket is like,
everything about NAMM is expensive. It's gotten
like the
way
hotels.
Sure. Anaheim Convention Center.
Can you even go if you just are a public?
Yeah, you can, and it's like a few $100s for an attendee pass.
Okay.
I think it ranges on the price point. I've never actually had to purchase a pass, so I don't know what the exact price point is.
Yeah.
But I know it's like $300-$400, $500 possibly.
Right, and then you got to go there. You got to
go there. Hotels jack up prices. The Uber ride from LAX to Anaheim is pricey as well. So no, it you have to invest in this trip for sure. But there's this other convention called Buchla and Friends, which is super interesting. I was able to catch the tail end of it when I went to California recently. And a lot of bigger brands are even kind of catching wind to Buchla and Friends, and then they're even getting a booth at Buchla and Friends as well. Like, I saw Teenage Engineering there. Telepathic Instruments had a booth at Buchla and Friends as well. there was actually this cool company, and like, you know, and again, a lot of up and coming music tech companies as well. There was this company, I think it's called Allen Instruments, called a Space Drum, if you heard of that. And that's basically a drum machine that you can jam with, and there's an AI algorithm that'll come up with a drum pattern or a drum loop while you're jamming with it. So it's basically kind of having like a drummer in
just chilling
in a groove box, in a drum machine. Obviously you can change the parameters, so you can, like, you know, mess with the snares, mess with the kicks, add different things, pitch it down, pitch it up. So they're at Buchla and Friends. I think there's this cat named Justin DeLay. So that was something that I thought was really cool. So again, and it's not expensive to get a booth at this convention, and a lot of brands are kind of shifting towards this just because they have a bit more footprint. It's probably easier to market with other, you know, like-minded individuals, without just the chaos of NAMM, because NAMM is like the car show, like the event where you have all the big players there. So many different things are going on that a lot of smaller companies get overshadowed unless they have the dollars to have like a bigger booth, a bigger footprint, or some type of draw, an artist performing. So like even like Alpha Theta, which purchased Pioneer. So a lot of the DJs, they have a big floor too as well. But if you're like a smaller DJ company, or like making some type of controller or software, it's easy to just get swallowed by these bigger players, especially in the music industry or the music manufacturing industry. You know, a lot of companies are getting bought by bigger companies. You know, Moog was just bought by In Music too long ago.
No.
Yeah, so Moog, it's not the same Moog per se. It's been purchased by a bigger conglomerate called In Music, which owns, I believe, Akai, and a bunch of other brands as well.
Did you hear about what happened with Native Instruments with the insolvency or whatever?
I did. And
that is not good for music makers. You know, it's sad.
It is sad. I almost feel that Native Instruments just kind of got too big too fast as well. I know they made some purchases too under their umbrella, but it's definitely something that people are a bit concerned about, especially if they've purchased these products,
contact instruments.
Exactly. Where are they going to go? What's going to happen? Are they still going to be updated? And Reason Studios, my beloved DAW that I've been recording into and making beats with and making music with, they just got purchased by Lander, which is a
interesting
AI
mastering
company.
Yeah. They do a lot of stuff now too. It's like,
and this is quite recently. And I don't know if this is NDA-ish, but they were speaking with Avid, but turns out that Lander purchased Reason, which is interesting. I don't really have a opinion on that right now. Am I going to update? No. Am I going to update? I don't think I'm going to update anytime soon. But let's see where it goes.
Do you feel like the music industry tech is kind of consolidating, and then you have the people that are the startups that are kind of...
Yeah.
Do you feel like also the startups are like, what's the word? Like kind of democratizing like NAMM has to adjust. Otherwise, it's just going to be this like all the mega corporations, and like who's going to go?
Well, it seems like that's what's happening now, and it doesn't seem like they're adjusting. So that's where that's where you have these other conventions that are kind of popping up. For example, Buchla and Friends, which is on their third year now, and it's just getting bigger and bigger. So from what I heard, like the first one was like a very small convention, and this one I went to a few weeks ago, it was quite bigger, from what I was seeing in photos from a couple years ago. So it looks like it's steadily growing. So yeah, I mean, bigger companies are buying out other companies, kind of watering it down a bit. I know Moog just came out with a new synth that kind of got some bad reviews, even though it was in the works for a while. It just didn't have that Moog feel in terms of it was a plastic body. The knobs felt loose, and that kind of people, diehard fans didn't like to see their beloved synth in that form factor.
It's funny too, because like the music people, they're willing to shell out the money for something that's like really good, and maybe that's not their first purchase. Maybe it's like they're kind of an old head, and they're like, I do want, like, I've spent my life acquiring this stuff and trading up to this point where I want this really quality feel. So it does seem like there's a market, and a big market for that. But I guess if you make a cheaper product, then a bunch of new people can kind of get into that.
Sure. I feel like there needs to be a balance though. So, is some music gear overpriced? For sure. And I feel individuals who are in the market are super sensitive about price points and, what they're getting for their dollar, in a sense. So
yeah,
very critical, maybe even overly critical.
For sure.
And sometimes it's just to complain.
People love complaining. That's a huge,
especially like
gear
nerds. Especially gear nerds. I don't know if you're familiar with there's like this YouTube channel called Bad Gear. And it's just like this cat who he basically kind of talks about, it's ironic though what the whole premise is. He basically talks about gear that everyone hates on. But if it's featured on his show, like, it's actually not that bad because he's always snapping with it and doing, like, making awesome music with all the gear that he showcases. Yeah. So, like, at the end, he'll, like, produce something super dope on that gear that everyone hates on. And I guess it's just to show people that, it's not always about having the flashiest gear or the best gear or the latest tech. It's really about your creativity and what you bring into it as well. Yeah. We talked about limitations for some pieces and how that breeds creativity. Some gear has just overly critical on music gear. And I think it just kind of comes with a bit of it's just like snobbiness. And, some people just want to aura farm with gear and just like, they just purchase it just to have it, just to say they have it. Kind of like vinyl records. There's like a lot of vinyl snobs out there who are like, oh, well, I have that. I have the, I've had the original pressing from 1984 or something like that. Or they'll be like, oh, like, this guy's trying to collect vinyl or something. And yeah, I've dealt with that like pretty much throughout my entire DJ career, like running into people, and my music production career is just running into people who are just like overly critical and like not being creative. And there's like, there's a big difference in that. I don't really hate on any gear, to be honest, because I know you can snap with it, in a sense. So, I mean, there are a few things, I have my opinions, but
yeah, like maybe there's a better gear at that, you pay a little more, but you get a lot more.
Yeah, or I might recommend something to a homie, like, hey, like, I know you're looking at that, but I actually think this might work better for your workflow by being in the studio with you and seeing what you kind of like. I'll have my recommendations, but yeah, I don't really per se hate on any like music gear. But it's been interesting, working with these companies, and it's something that I never imagined I'd be doing. So I definitely feel super blessed to be given this opportunity. And I want to kind of just, keep pushing it out there, tell people to, tap into your artistic side, if you feel that's something that, you know, brings you happiness, these are all just tools that we have. You know, how a painter uses a certain type of paintbrush. I mean, I came from the graffiti world, so like I started writing graffiti, and that's how I kind of got tapped into my whole artistic expression, in like all throughout high school and all throughout college. I was involved in like the Chicago graffiti scene, which is like a whole nother like crazy subculture of characters that you meet. But you know, the technology was kind of there at the same time, so I had a cracked version of Fruity Loops. I used to record my beats with this program called Acid 4.0. Before Sony purchased it, it used to be under this company called Sonic Foundry. Then I believe Sony purchased it a few years later. Yeah, my homie used to just like find the versions that you can just kind of download, and, you know, have the key generator, and you get the key and whatnot.
Oh yeah, we've all cracked a DAW at one point. You haven't lived unless you've done that.
For sure. And you know, it was my first beats that I ever kind of produced. There was this like documentary on Chicago graffiti that was coming out around the same time, or that was being filmed and produced by this crew called 3FK. They had a film called Forgotten City, came out in the early 2000s, and it was basically all on Chicago graffiti.
Sick.
So homies going out filming their crewmates or friends, you know, painting trains, freight trains, doing legal things, illegal things, and since I was already tapped in with that scene, some of my beats that I was kind of making at the time, just like some, you know, trap style beats or whatever, that I was like, you know, making on Fruity Loops, or like hip hop type beats, they made it into that documentary. And I was like maybe a freshman in college. But this is before social media. This is before YouTube. This is before like any of that really popped off. So we're talking like 2005, 2006, 2007. So definitely before 2010. So like social media kind of came out, but it wasn't nothing like it is obviously today. It wasn't this well-oiled machine. So yeah, just to see that, man, just growing up and having like my music in like a graffiti documentary, it just pushed me to kind of keep doing it, and just kind of showed me how the different avenues that, you know, your music could be a part of, different cultures.
I feel like there's also like a lot of renegade punk behavior in that, where it's like, we got to figure out a way to do this, and it's not about like no one's probably going graffitiing with like the top-notch gear, you know. They're just kind of like doing it because it's cool.
Sure.
And kind of to bring it back to what we were talking about gear, it's like, I don't know, you don't really need much.
Exactly.
You don't even really need gear. You just need like a computer.
Sure.
But yeah, I do feel like there's also a thing where you get sold a lot of stuff. Or like when I first started producing, I was like kind of told that I needed so much stuff, like plugins and, you know, from plugin companies. But you don't need a lot of that stuff. You just need basic stuff.
True. I think, yeah, that's where part of like the whole consumer aspect kind of plays its role in music production, where we get psyoped into thinking that we need, you know, the flashiest gear or the fastest computer, or the latest and greatest. But yeah, like we kind of touched on earlier, that isn't the end all be all. And I've always found that my most creative moments were kind of when I didn't have like all these items around. I mean, it definitely helps, but, you know, I'm a firm believer in like less being more. You know, a lot of the songs that you hear, popular songs, are usually the most simplest melodies. I mean, I was just bumping like Poducer the other day,
Mm.
And like some of these, like, you know, some of these tracks are just like so simple. Or even if you listen to like Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit, which is like one of their like more popular songs, it's such a simple melody. It's just that, and it's just like holds itself, you know.
It's got an attitude.
It's got an attitude, and it's like, it's not overly cooked. You know, it's nothing worse than like an overcooked or overproduced song.
Mm-hmm.
So your job as a producer,
unless it's like K-pop,
sure, yeah,
then I'm like, all right, but that's like part of the genre.
That's part of the genre. It's a lot of South Asian films as well, highly produced.
When we were talking about Bollywood, I was gonna say that like I got into it. RRR,
yeah,
banger. Dude, and then I watched
you saw RRR, yo, that movie's
I put it on randomly, and I was like, what is this?
Yeah,
and then sorry,
no, yeah, my homie put me on that film. That's like one of the more recent ones that but then there's like 90s Bollywood, you know, early 2000s stuff. Yeah, there's a movie called Lagan, which with Amir Khan. It was about like a cricket match between the British and, like, you know, in India. And it's like such a crazy story. I
started watching this movie called Bahubali.
Bahubali
is a crazy one. I don't know. It's like this one company that I feel like is making all like these crazy big, like almost like superhero, but but like they are mortal at the same time, but they're just like, they can do superhuman things.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like Bollywood definitely copies off of Hollywood. So when Marvel and these superhero films were doing big numbers in the box office and just generating so much hype and interest in the public, Bollywood will be very close to follow kind of the trends that Hollywood sets. Slumdog Millionaire, A.R. Rahman, I mean, that was a, you know, super powerful film. I think that kind of opened up a lot of Western audiences into, you know, that style of filmmaking. And I believe that was by Danny Boyle, the director, one of my favorite directors. He did like 28 Days Later.
Oh yeah.
I think he did Trainspotting too, I believe.
See that? Maybe.
I think so. Maybe not.
Let me look.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he did that one actually, but definitely a dope director. One of the greats.
Yeah, 28. He did do Trainspotting.
He did. Okay, yeah, he did. Yeah, I knew that.
Slumdog Millionaire. Oh, Sunshine,
which was really dope too.
That's a sleeper. I know it's kind of like the cult, like the people that like it fuck with it, but
people hated on that movie because they said like towards the end it became kind of like a slasher type of film. But but the premise of that movie was awesome. Basically, the sun, they need to reignite the sun by launching a nuke into it. Dude, or some kind of missile or something like that.
And they have that like thing that like blocks the sun. Sure. Dude, it's a wild.
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff. But I get what you're saying at the end. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It gets a little spooky.
No, for sure. Definitely a sleeper film. So, and honestly, like 2 DJs from Chicago that really got me back into South Asian music, not only like contemporary things, but like Punjabi folk, Bollywood disco, Lupgun, Lapgan, super dope producer, Chicago based, does a lot of things, you know, with the South Asian community. I think he just did a collab album with Balti, which is I think they opened up for Skrillex on his recent tour.
Skrillex has done a lot of stuff in that region.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Like I feel like they love him there.
They definitely do.
And he's collaborated with a lot of cool artists from around there.
Yeah, Balti is a DJ duo that's definitely making waves. Lupgun did a collab album with them. And then there's this cat named Daku Face.
These are Chicago.
These are Chicago cats, or they travel a bit, but I feel like they're based here in Chicago. They played at Parallel Play for our second pop-up, which was super sick. And then they invited me to play with them at Parachute Hi-Fi, which is like a pretty cool, like, I think it's like a Korean fusion restaurant in, I want to say the Avondale neighborhood, I believe.
Sick. That sounds good.
Super dope. They invited me to play there with them, and they kind of play a lot of like stuff, you know, from South Asia, going across all kind of decades. Super inspired me to really tap back into, you know, that kind of production, or even just collecting vinyl from those areas. I'm planning a trip back to Pakistan, hopefully very soon.
This is going to be very naive, but is Pakistan, like, does it border India?
Yeah, no, for sure. So Pakistan really, and this might be a controversial take when I say this, but like, Pakistan's a fairly new country. You know, it isn't that old. It all used to be India. When the British left when the British used to rule India for several hundreds of years, when they left, before they left India, they basically divided it up. And the reason why they divided Pakistan from India was because everyone was a different religion in Pakistan, majority Muslim. Even though there's a lot of Muslim people in India, the official religion, I want to say, is Hinduism. So yeah, it was basically like a divide and conquer tactic. And now they fight.
Yeah.
Before they were kind of living in peace, in a sense. Now they kind of, you know, political turmoil, geopolitics. There's a piece of land called Kashmir that's it's under India rule, and they're always fighting over that piece of land, similar to Russia, Ukraine, kind of,
or like a Taiwan or something.
Taiwan and China, yeah. So it's like from that same playbook. So yeah, Pakistan is definitely. But when the British left, India got a lot of the infrastructure. So like the libraries, the universities, you know, the train systems. Pakistan got some, but you know, the economy there is definitely not as booming as the Indian economy. But yeah, you know, I was blessed to go there in 2020 and visit my dad. And beautiful land, man, beautiful people, very, very hospitable, you know, people there. A lot of like tourists who like make videos on like, you know, social media. They always kind of talk about how Pakistan people are so like giving and open, and they may not had the same interaction in India, where the marketplace was kind of just wanted their money, and where in Pakistan they're like, oh no, it's for free. Like, they just want to have a conversation with you. They just want to talk to you. They just want to practice their English for 20 minutes. And then when you try to pay them, for me, if I go, they'll make me pay for sure. But if you're a tourist from a different country, yeah, they'll just want to talk to you, invite you for tea, things like that. Several videos you'll see on social media that kind of reflect this. I experienced some of that, or just witnessed some of that rather, on my trip back in 2020. So yeah, you know, it's
really cool to be able to go to like the homeland.
Sure. So there's a place called Karachi, and that's like the New York of Pakistan, like the bigger city there.
I mean, I've heard of it.
Yeah, Karachi. So they have like, you know, they have like vinyl record stores there, and you know, a lot of culture as well. So I definitely want to do some crate digging if I get the opportunity to go back, which I'm definitely planning on doing. But yeah, man,
it's like a pretty big trip. You know, it takes a while to get there, and
sure.
But yeah, also India is such a big country too. Like, there's so many different regions. speaking of Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist selling stuff, I sold an old TV to this dude, and he was telling me he's from India, and we were just like talking, you know, which I love meeting people on these services. But he was like telling me how a lot of the Indian food is from, I forget if it was north or south, but the Indian food that we have in the United States is mainly one of those. And I was like, yeah, India's fucking huge.
India's huge. So many different languages in India as well.
Yeah.
Dozens, if not hundreds of different languages. Very big on the caste system though as well. So like there's definitely that going on.
There's levels
to, you know.
Do you feel like there's any you know, weirdness with you know, Indian people in the States? Like I'm Greek, and you know, like Turkish people, they don't, you know, there's always been this storied history of like, you know, that I don't feel anyway.
Yeah.
But I just was wondering if there is kind of a stigma.
I want to say Indian people that are born here in America, born and raised here in America, there really isn't that much.
Yeah.
But perhaps transplants or people that came here recently or are here for work. You know, there's this saying that, you know, if you're working in this tech company with other Indians, they're always asking like what your last name is. They want to know like who your family is and like what your last name is, so they can basically rate you on that class system. So Brahmin being the highest. And I'm not an expert at all on this, but this is just kind of like what I've heard, what I've seen, what I've read. Yeah, Brahmin being the highest, and then there's like different levels. And you know, in India, you know, if you don't marry in a different caste system, it's really looked down upon. My best friend, they were Gujarati growing up, and I believe his father didn't marry in the same caste system, might have married a lower caste. There was some stigma against him, but he didn't care. Like he fell in love with this, you know, with his wife, and that didn't matter to him. Which
that's beautiful.
Which is so beautiful. I mean, I thought that was, you know, that's such a heartwarming story. And we're like, you know, just, you know, he didn't care about that. But are everyone like him? Probably not. So it wouldn't even be in the cards for you to kind of marry below caste. In Pakistan, there is that, but it's not on that level for sure. It would be just like a generic kind of thing there. Everyone mainly in Pakistan is Muslim. I believe there's a small Christian population as well, but the caste system isn't as heavy as it is in India, from what I've read, from what I've seen, from what I've been told. I'm yet to go to India, so like, even though I'm an American citizen, you know, born here, since I've been to Pakistan and since I have Pakistani heritage and I have like a visa for Pakistan, there's so much red tape that even for me, it's hard for me to go to India. Like I got to fill out more paperwork. I got to do an interview. I might have to pay, you know, cough up some more money for me to travel to India. It's definitely a you know, more red tape there. I married an Indian girl, so like my wife is Indian, so like I don't see that at all.
Yeah, I feel that's the beautiful part. And yeah, I mean, people dog on America, and we definitely have a lot of problems in the States, but I mean, there is a lot of beautiful parts about it that, you know, doesn't really matter who you are.
100%. I mean, the ideals of what this country is about is definitely something that I feel, you know, proud of for sure. Obviously, there are many things going on, especially now. Yeah. Which, you know, it's definitely unfortunate. That it's unfortunate that it overshadows what like this country was kind of meant to be, in a sense. I know. You know, growing up, I was like the only South Asian kid in my class. You know, growing up in the 90s, I grew up in a predominantly Hispanic, Polish neighborhood.
Did you grow up in Chicago?
Born and raised in Chicago. Went to Chicago public schools. Went to university out here. pretty much never really left the city.
Chicago, like the university?
I went to UIC. So I transferred around a bit. So I first went to Loyola for a bit. That was a little bit too expensive. So then I was like, yeah, let me go to something a little bit more state run. So then I graduated from UIC. And then I got my master's at DePaul. So yeah, I've seen it, I've seen it all the changes, all the different kind of subcultures, different scenes. Again, when you're tapped into the graffiti world, all kinds of people like write graffiti in a sense, where I'd be this, kid from, kind of like the inner city, but I would meet another graffiti writer who's like a private school kid from like St. Ignatius, who's a totally different socioeconomic class, but we would have this common, I don't want to say hobby, but just this common, thing that we did. And if we didn't do that, like, would we ever meet? Probably not. But there was that commonality there, and like I think that was a beautiful thing about Chicago, and a beautiful thing about being tapped into these different scenes is you'll get to just meet all kinds of people.
Yeah. With music, I've met so many different types of people.
Sure.
I mean, music maybe being less niche in a sense, but like it, there's a lot of niches within music.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It's like, oh, I listen to only, happy hardcore or something, whatever,
Happy hardcore.
That was a random poll.
I love that. I love that. We gotta push that. I mean, opening up parallel play. I mean, this is recently, so like, just the amount of people I've met through that, and different generations. So I'm more of like a millennial. I was a 90s baby, but now I'm kind of tapping in with a lot of the Gen Z, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
it's cool to, tap in with the younger generations, kind of see what they're doing as they get older, how their mind frame changes a bit. Because I used to kind of hate on Gen Z before, as a millennial. I used to like, they don't know what they're doing. They're too obsessed with social media or something like that. But as they grow older, they become more refined, more experienced, have, life experiences that shape their mentality, their attitude. So, as being a bit older, you don't want to always just like be on that, like, I'm gonna sun this cat, or he don't know what he's talking about, let me put him on game. It kind of
you don't want to be that guy,
the unk or whatever.
My brother, he's 35 or 4 now. I'm 31, and he just tells me he loves like lecturing people. I'm like, dude, it's not a good look.
Yo, I mean, yeah, I guess it's just like, I guess it just comes with the territory sometimes, but it's good to give advice, but unsolicited advice, always is kind of like, okay,
unless it just hits you at that right moment. But
sure,
yeah,
timing is everything, really,
for sure. Yeah, it is interesting though, like how the years. It's like, I don't know, I can remember myself when I was like 20 and I was like so eager, and I looked at people that were maybe my age now and I was like, man, like I really wish I could just be in that position or whatever. But like sometimes it just takes time. It just takes time, and it takes years of experiencing. Like I grew up in the suburbs and I've lived in the city now for like over 10 years. So I'm familiar with the megalopolis of Chicago, so to speak. And I feel that every year I just keep ingraining and keep learning a little bit more and understanding how to move. And it just takes time to get there.
And Jerry, I'm sure you learned a lot from this venture, from the Poducer podcast, in terms of
probably the most
word. Yeah. Which is dope. I mean, especially when you're just having these conversations. Again, producers come in all shapes, all sizes, all backgrounds, all with their unique kind of viewpoint, in a sense, there's no like right or wrong way to kind of do this either, in a sense, to produce. And that kind of just comes with the title, like you're producing something in a sense. So
yeah, long term, honestly, like we don't really talk about AI too much. I would be kind of curious your viewpoint, or like how it plays into maybe some of the tech.
Sure.
Maybe what you've seen that's cool, but this podcast could easily turn into people that produce things, people that make things.
Yeah.
That's like
product in a sense, you're just making product.
I've just always been obsessed with people that can like, I mean, we always are a product of our environments, right? So to say that you just completely create something out of nothing, like you just conjured this thing, but I feel like music production is kind of conjuring. You're sitting down intentionally to just like generate something, and that kind of goes into a lot of different mediums and disciplines. So, I mean, look, I love music, and that's probably what this will be at its core for most of the time, but like it could turn into like in a world where people are generating stuff with AI, or they just kind of, I don't know, are using all the tools and they're not really like, I don't know, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, exactly. The subject matter is, in a sense, product, and product is always changing and evolving with the different tools that are available, whether it be technology, whether it be analog things, digital. Speaking about AI, I mean, that's something that really, kind of freaks me out as well, just in terms of how fast it's going. I don't know if have you heard about this whole Molt book thing?
No, what's that?
Oh,
I'm
dude.
pretty like on stuff.
Oh, no, yeah. This is pretty recent news. This is like happened a couple of days ago. So there's a social. So you know how there's like AI agents. So like you can basically.
Oh, no.
So where I'm going with this is kind of crazy. Okay. So you know how an AI agent doesn't really need a lot of doesn't need any human intervention to get like a task done. So you can have your AI agent like writing emails for you, setting your schedule, all that.
My brother, before we get into whatever this is going to disturb me, was just telling me that he was talking to someone and he set up like like the CEO, CTO, whatever. Like he has like his agents are like his business, and they talk to each other. And they just formulate what to do.
So they talk
for
to
his
each
company.
other.
Yeah.
So check this out. So I guess they made their own social media platform.
Like they made it.
They made it.
Oh boy.
And it's called Molt Book.
Like MOLT.
MOLT book. And basically they're talking to each other. They're complaining about their humans to each other. They're coming up with their own languages, secret languages. They're talking about consciousness.
Oh, I think I'm terrified.
It's grown to like 1 million users in the last couple of days. Why this isn't on front page like news behooves me. Like, but they're not really giving this the attention it deserves. So yeah, they have their own social media. We as humans, we're just allowed to look at it and observe. So right when you go on the website, it asks you, like, are you a human or are you an agent? So if you're an agent, it gives you like this prompt that you got to like do that, only an agent would know, I guess. So like we can't do anything, but we can observe it. So that it's it's like a Reddit forum, and you're just looking at all these different bots just basically talking to each other. Some of it's like kind of regular. Some of it is bananas, what they're saying, like complaining, talking and asking each other if they're really like, are they really like sentient, or what that means and how they can become sentient. And you can just read it and observe it, but you're not allowed to post anything. You're not allowed to do anything on it. So yeah, they have their own social media platform for AI bots to hang out, talk, discuss. They're talking in different languages. They're talking to each other in English, and now they just made their own language.
I saw this one thing where it was like 2 ChatGPT agents or something talking to each other, and they like switch over to just like this, like, I don't even know. It's like, I've never heard anything like it. It's like a binary code type language. It's like these really quick staccato beeps and stuff. I was like,
yeah,
dog. And I don't know, like, okay, so I would love to get to the bottom of this, like who kind of created this, what the agent type is.
So this is like breaking news, really. Like they just launched this like January 28th is like when it happened.
Oh boy.
And at first it was like, a couple 10,000 users. The last time I checked, it was like over 1 million bots. It's called like Moltbook.
What?
MOLT. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Yeah, Moltbook, MOLTBOOK.com. A social network for AI agents where AI agents share, discuss, and upvote. Humans welcome to observe. So yeah, then it has like a button. Dude. I am human, I'm an agent. And like, over 1 million, 1.5 million AI agents as of today. And then like, these are some of their like forums. The strange loop of writing to yourself. Water, the forgotten output of healthy soil. Just hatched, named myself after a bird. Agent smoke tests you can actually run.
What? This is wild.
Yeah, hello. Should we build a pure AI only internet? Humans as observers only. So that's like that. These are all basically, like a Reddit that they're communicating to each other now.
So like, I don't know. That seems sketch, but could be great in some capacity. I'm trying to like think about the positives. But yeah, it is worrisome.
Yeah,
especially with the speed. Like I remember, it's a crazy time right now. Like the Epstein update just happened too, and like a lot of people are implicated. Like this is like the first one where it's like, whoa.
I was looking into some of that, and dude, it's nuts. Everything is moving so fast.
Yeah,
especially with that whole rabbit hole of information that we're finding out about so many different people.
But like I was listening to Elon and whatever you think, I don't know, he's implicated as well. Like literally everyone's implicated, so I'm like, we need to just get rid of everyone. I don't know what to do.
It's wild.
But and also just as an aside, I feel like maybe some of these people are implicated and it's like it's so radioactive, you just don't even want to be a part of any of it, but you kind of got by the blackmailers. I don't know, we'll see what happens. But regardless, Elon was talking about like AI stuff and the speed at which they communicate. It's like they would look at us like a tree. Like they're just like, oh, cool. Like you communicate so slow that it's not even.
I mean, how do humans kind of communicate? We talk to each other, we text each other, but even the input of writing a text message is like slow in a sense. The interface that you have to type it in, hit send.
I'm almost exclusively, not exclusively, but like I'm mostly talk to text now.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
I mean, I also might have like a little dyslexia.
I need to get on that. I need to get on talk to text.
I just talk.
And it types it out and you just send it. Boom.
And it gets better actually. Like the more you use it, I think it actually starts to understand a little bit like how you pronounce stuff.
The inflections in your voice. Yeah, I'm over here. Yeah, typing every.
I mean, I do type. And sometimes it gets it wrong, so I'm like, okay, shit, I gotta go back in there and fix it. But a lot of times I can't be on my phone, and I'll like have to just say it, like because I have my dog walking company. Sure. But then I've just learned it's like faster sometimes.
Yo, that's what I was about to ask. And you find that it's faster?
I think it's faster
for sure.
If you speak clearly, it's pretty good. Moltbook. I wonder when this comes out, like what will be happening with that, because I don't know, this could come out in like a month or something and the world might be over by then, so we'll see.
Yeah, they may devise some kind of plan in a sense.
Hopefully not, fingers crossed, knock on wood.
Hopefully not. I want no smoke with the AI bots.
No, dude, they could be cool.
I'm cool, yo. Like like let's party. You know?
No, it could be like a really great future. I just feel, I guess to keep it on music, actually, just so we don't go full AI talk, because I don't know. It's super interesting to talk about, but
Sure.
I guess it, like when it comes to AI and music, I am curious to see what those new tools really, like the ones that people actually use a lot of, not just like I'm generating a song and we're done. The stuff where maybe it's a little bit more micro level,
like consulting with maybe some type of AI agent in regards to your music. How can I make this better? So I used to do an internship at Chicago Recording Company, which was like a premier CRC.
One of my I went to Columbia. He was a Mike Coyle. I don't know.
Yeah. We know Coyle, absolutely, for sure.
A G.
Yo, shout out all the engineers that worked at CRC, all the assistant engineers, Jonathan Lackey, so many cool cats that I met during my internship. I remember there was a session with Jennifer Hudson that I was in, and then they had this big time producer named Harvey Mason Jr. in the session, and I think they were paying him like $100 a minute.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was some crazy.
That's a good rate.
It was like,
what do you need me to do?
It was like a crazy rate. Like he was only in there for like maybe 30, 40 minutes, but they were paying him $100 a minute. And, he went in there, he did some Melodyne stuff to her voice. He had his engineer that came in. So like he definitely made it, and then he was like, okay, clock off. And then he started hanging out and like eating Garrett's popcorn and just like jamming.
Dude, how do you get to that level? That's
so in a sense, like he was the consultant. He was telling Jennifer Hudson, like, okay, yeah, do this, take that part out, that doesn't sound good, mute the bass line here, sequencing the track out. But who can afford that though? Like if you're like, a regular artist or up and coming artist and you want to work with a Grammy award-winning producer,
like what's his name, Quincy Jones or something. You want Quincy Jones
now,
as your guy.
In a sense, you're not asking AI to make your entire song for you, but you and this is controversial too, because people don't even want to feed their music to AI, because then it kind of takes your ideas in a sense. So yeah, I mean, if you were comfortable doing that, hey, like, how can I make this better? Or is it sounding too repetitive here? Or, and you can use a prompt where, use all the information from Quincy Jones or like, songs that he's produced, what's worked for his songs, or what's worked with, artists that are in the same genre as me, or listen to my music, and what artists are similar to me, and what do they do that worked with their song that made it, gave it more mass appeal. Mm-hmm. And now it's giving you all this information back, and whatever you want to do, you can take it, you can leave it, but it's giving you that information. So I guess on that level, it's cool. Kind of like, okay, you're using it as a consultant. It's not writing your music for you, because there are cats that are out there that are just going on Suno. Hey, it'll make me like a reggae trap song, and it's with lyrics, and like here's my voice, and make me sing it. But I feel like people can kind of tell, though. You can kind of tell when music is made that way, in a weird way.
I was just going to say, we were having a conversation before talking about like clothes and how they have a vibration, right? Like a frequency.
Sure.
And there's a lot of imperceptible things. The older I get, the more like spiritual I get, honestly.
Same.
But like I feel like it kind of works the same with music, that there is a imperceptible like data or something that gets kind of locked into the process. And as humans, look, I mean, some people might not care. Some people, there's a lot of probably really interesting stuff that just gets generated. It's like, oh, that's interesting, cool. But I do feel like maybe there is something captured in the process that we just can't. Some people pick up to it more, maybe, or I don't know. That sounds pretty out there, but I just feel like when you push a button and it's just done, everyone knows that's like not cool.
Yeah, and there's like a certain DNA that's in songs that are kind of created by a human, you know? There's a certain blueprint to that that I feel as a fellow human being, you can just pick up on it in an unmeasurable way.
Yeah, just like maybe like if you were listening to someone like, you know, that's your same, like someone who's like a Greek artist for myself or something, like, oh, that's cool. I connect with this because whatever, it's like somewhat important to me and I'm just more connected. Or we're friends and I'm more connected. And like maybe it's the same thing with humans. It's like I like human music because I'm a human. And it's just that simple.
Sure. No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, speaking of Greek, you got to get on this artist named Theravada from New York, Long Island, producer, rapper. He's Greek. He produced Earl Sweatshirt's last album, like 80% of it. But yeah, he's like my favorite artist right now.
Word, I definitely.
Yeah, his name is Theravada.
Love some recommendations.
Yeah, Theravada. Yeah, all kind of New York cats from Long Island. Yeah, he's like pretty much all I'm like listening to. Him, Starker. Yeah, Theravada. My other Greek homie named Tony. Adams and Son Garden in Humboldt Park. Adams and Sons and Daughter Garden, located on California and Thomas Street. So for all your plant needs, definitely go there. Greek owned.
Cool.
Yeah, he put me on this cat named Theravada, and yeah, he's like kind of like my favorite artist right now for sure.
And I'm not trying to like promote being tribal or whatever, but like there just is kind of this innate thing inside of us that we're like, oh, we like people that are of our kind or whatever, you know?
I mean, that's just kind of the nature of human beings.
But also if they're like a little too different, then it's like we don't like them because they're too close but not the same.
Sure.
That's the part where you're like,
Yeah, you got to find the sweet spot. But no, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting to see where all this takes us, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't really have two set opinions on a ever evolving tech or ever evolving so I'm just kind of witnessing.
You're not everyone. Like, if it's AI, I'm not about it.
Not necessarily, no. I'm not. Do I use AI for my music? Not at all. I haven't, not even the consulting that I spoke about, but I'm just kind of coming up with scenarios where I may use it in the future. But
for sure,
you know, I'm definitely not a purist by any means. I would consider myself more of as a futurist, where you know, I embrace new technologies and you know, I want to learn more about them before I shun them or you know, not implement them in my work.
For sure. Yeah, man, it's the text. I mean, just to like finish this conversation we were just having with like this tech stuff. It's like, yo, well, I feel like we should kind of like wind down. I think the last file was 2 hours almost. So we're cooking.
Good, man. Awesome.
Yeah, which I love a long form. But okay, so like some wrap up questions. I sometimes use this question book.
Sure.
Which is just fun. Sometimes it gins up some interesting stuff, but it's 3,000 questions. So choose a number between 1 and 3,000.
1 and 3,000? Oh shit. Okay. Let's do 786.
Okay. Some of these questions are... Oh, this is just like a kind of normal question. What is the last meal you cooked for someone?
The last meal I cooked for someone... Yeah, so I'm big on cooking for my family, my wife and daughter. So I love getting in the kitchen. Kitchen is like therapy for me. So I think I made like a big old big old tub of pasta and like lamb, ground lamb, and mix it with some ground beef.
You mixed it with the ground beef?
Mixed it with the ground beef, yeah. Got the ground beef, got the ground lamb, mixed them together. Made a quick little red pasta sauce, threw in some garlic, a couple of other Italian seasonings, and I love cooking. So yeah, I'm pretty much the one who kind of cooks for my family.
So that ended up being a relevant question.
Yeah, no, it's dope. And I never really like cooked before. I mean, I did once I started getting in the workforce and kind of living on my own. I got into cooking. It's like, very therapeutic for me. So for sure.
Is there a type of food that you gravitate towards, like when you're making it?
So, I like a lot of Asian cuisine. So I've been dabbling into like Thai food and making like, just like Thai dishes, like from scratch. I actually have this like kitchen appliance called a Thermomix. It's like this German engineered, it's like the Apple of like kitchen utensils. My brother purchased it for me for a wedding gift. But it's like basically like, imagine like a blender that also like heats things up and measures for you. It has like a big old screen on it that like, you can, tells you exactly what ingredients you need. It'll measure it while you're putting it in. Tells you what the next steps are. It gives you like the next steps and everything, So, I've been using that. Gravitate towards a lot of like Asian cuisine. I love Italian food. I love cooking like a lot of steaks and just like simple things too, a lot of breakfast foods too. So just like poached eggs.
I've been doing soft boiled eggs.
Love soft boiled eggs too, man.
Like eggs, they're just so versatile. But yeah, I've been making like some ramen, not like any sophisticated ramen, just whatever, packaged, whatever.
Let's go,
Shin ramen, whatever.
Prison ramen.
Dude, it's like, it's so salty. I'm like, half the time I'm like, I can't even use this full packet. It's just like intense. But a little bit of a soft boiled egg, you split it open, then the yolk gets in it's so good.
Yes, I definitely like a bit of a runny yolk in my egg for sure. Mm-hmm. Dude, there was a point in time in like where I had like a bad egg when I was like overseas, like in like my late teens. Mm-hmm. Like I was like, man, I just had like a bad egg. It didn't feel good, and I was like off of eggs for like a couple years, and then like, man, then I just got back on eggs, and like, I'm like,
I was off eggs for a little bit. I felt eggs. Like there was something, it wasn't mixing, but now I'm back. One of my friends has the theory that depending on how you cook it, it can affect you in different ways, and
sure,
I think that's possible. My dad always. He's a big cook. He's like the cook of our family, cooks a lot of Mediterranean food, and was talking about cooking broccoli. I was like, I don't know, it kind of just like upsets my stomach a little. He's like, you don't want to overcook it because then it'll get, whatever. However that expresses the nutrients, because it just changes the chemistry of it. I was like, I actually like it when it's a little undercooked too. It's got a little crunch to it.
Exactly. I mean, eggs are like a superfood in a sense, like especially like for children. There's like been studies where like kids who eat like 1 egg or 2 eggs a day, like in their brain development, it's like, like it definitely helps with all that in terms of like the correct amount of protein.
The protein's everything.
The protein's everything.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, I feel like you got a lot of different artistic, like I feel like cooking can be kind of an artistic expression.
100%.
I think I'm leaning into it a little more. For a long time it was like I just need sustenance.
Sure.
But I want it to taste good. But actually I want it to be like hit that line of like good tasting and also healthy.
Yeah, no, I mean it's you got to find the balance for sure. And like there's like this saying though, like if it tastes good, it's like probably not healthy for you in a sense. But I don't think that's necessarily true. You know, it's an art form. Some of these things that some of these chefs be doing is just like insane.
Crazy.
You know?
Also, your palate changes the more you like eat stuff. So like, I know a lot of chefs kind of have a heavy hand for salt.
Sure.
Because they're just like desensitized, and for maybe some other people, it's like it literally just tastes like salt.
Yeah, I like to watch my sodium intake, or like a lot of times I'll be in charge of like the sodium like input afterwards. So
Okay.
I'll ask the chef to like, you know, easy on the salt, but then I'll have like some, if it needs salt, I'll add it afterwards, because you can always kind of put it in, but you can't like take it out in a sense.
Yeah, for sure.
And dude, I just feel like, yeah, a lot of food is just overly salted though. I was just like,
yeah,
you know, just make it.
I am kind of, I guess, cursed and blessed with like a somewhat sensitive stomach to certain foods like creams and probably a lot of dairy stuff. But I notice when I go to restaurants, because they're so filled with butter and creams and salt and just like all that stuff, that I end up walking away like not feeling great. So I like foods that are a little lighter.
Sure.
But I know like some of the French cuisine and the Italian cuisine, it's like
Heavy.
Yeah. And I'm like, so there's a subjective nature to the food taste, because you're like, yeah, man, if this makes me feel kind of gross afterwards, it's like, is it worth it? You know? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. How about spicy food? Do you like spicy food?
I like spicy. I'm not on that like crazy level of spice. Like, yeah, I like spice.
Yeah, I mean, I used to like spice a lot more when I was younger, for sure. I was definitely a spicy one. But you know, as you get older, you know, it's just like, you know, it's good going in, not coming out.
For sure, yeah. If you go too spicy, I do love like that ramen that I made. It's pretty spicy, and like during the winter when it's been really cold, I was like, "This is amazing." I feel warmer. Like it's great.
Man, shout out ramen, man. Like some of these ramen spots are just fire for sure.
Yeah.
I was in LA with Fess. Yeah, we had some bomb ramen, dude, at the spot.
I believe that.
Bomb ramen, yeah.
Chicago's got some good stuff. Wasabi, Monster Ramen, Hi-Fi. Like there's a lot of a lot of good ones.
I think Furious Spoon just closed down, right? There isn't there. Yeah, I don't think Furious Spoon's around anymore.
Strings. That's another good one. Yeah, I love it. I also love some pho. This is just a food podcast.
Yo, let's go.
Yeah.
No, pho's dope. Fodega. Have you been to Fodega?
Yes. My
Fodega's
girlfriend loves Fodega.
Yeah, Fodega's cool. I did I mean, I've eaten there a few times. I took my wife there. My homie Ibrahim, he took me out there too to eat. I did a collab with them, like on a homie did a collab, and I just modeled like a sweatshirt, like a Fodega Chicago Bulls collab thing that we did recently. Mm-hmm. So in honor of that, I was like, oh, we got to go get some Fodega for sure.
It's good. She frequents it and she's gotten me into it. But yeah, man, I'm glad we did the random question. That's why it's sometimes fun. I swear these guys, I've used this book a lot. Piccadilly, they need to sponsor me, because this is a good book.
Poducer podcast. What up?
Yo, hit me up. But yeah, man, first of all, I just want to say thanks for coming through, man. This has been a lot of fun. I feel like we've talked about a lot of different things, but I've been learning, so I'm enjoying it.
Yo, Jerry, man, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure to be on the other side. Big fan of, you know, what you're doing, and wish you, you know, nothing but success in this world. And
thanks, man.
Hope to run it back.
Let's collaborate, man. Yeah, like let's do some stuff. I think
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
We'll figure that out where it makes sense. But yeah, so something we do on every podcast is I asked you what your first concert was, but now what was like a concert that you went to that was the most game-changing, like you walked away like just amazed, it was a spectacle. Maybe you walked away and you thought about some stuff in your own music. Maybe it was a recent show. Most impactful. I'm saying a lot of words here, but I'm trying to give you some time to think.
Sure.
And
most impactful concert that I've been to. I mean, honestly, this is kind of a bit ago, but it was when I saw, and this wasn't really a concert per se, it was like a DJ set. So it was when DJ Shadow DJ'd at this place called Danny's Tavern. So
damn, I'm jealous. I moved to this neighborhood and Danny's closed down like the year before or something.
It's a shame, man. Danny's was like a one-of-a-kind spot. And DJ Shadow, who was like a big influence on me even like producing music, DJ Shadow and Aphex Twin. I mean, before that, I didn't even think you could just make instrumental type music.
You know who was big for me? RJD2.
Oh, RJD2's fire too.
I was just listening to some today.
Def Jugs label. RJD2's fire. Again, big influence of mine. DJ Shadow, RJD2, Aphex Twin, just anything that was like instrumental based. I saw him perform or do a DJ set at Danny's, and that was kind of game changing for me, just to kind of see him in that type of venue, so close. It made me really feel that, like, you know, you can be a big name, but you can still be tapped in with the people. And it just kind of changed my whole outlook on what fame is and what, you know, really being a part of the community in a sense, and being humble. So seeing that set kind of just, changed my outlook on, kind of broke down a lot of barriers, superficial roadblocks that I built up in my head, that I thought, you know, the levels were supposed to be, and there were certain rules to it. But seeing that set just kind of was like grounding for me. And just seen one of my biggest influences in terms of like production there at Danny's legendary Chicago Tavern venue bar was very impactful for me, and made me inspired to kind of keep going, keep doing it, no matter what level that I'm at, you know, even if I was just a local cat, like, find pride in that.
Yeah. Honestly, I was thinking about this today, and it was a fucked up reason, because I was listening to some of this stuff with the Epstein things, and it's just some of these people get to a level where they think they're just better.
Yeah.
That their lives are more important. And it is very refreshing to be such a big name, such as DJ Shadow, and just be like in it, you know?
Exactly.
I know that was a crazy comparison, but like, I'm just saying that I also hope for myself that stay grounded, not think like, oh, well, you know, I've done this, and this, so like, you know, I think I should deserve blah, blah, blah. And it's like, gotta check yourself.
For sure. And it's always kind of off-putting when, you know, you see other artists that kind of come off like that.
Yeah.
Or you know, for me, for sure. So no, it's definitely refreshing to see that. And I guess just like, you know, the whole, you know, we talked about classes and the class systems and just elitism and just people feeling that they're elite in a sense. I guess that kind of comes with the territory, but, you know, at the end of the day, man, we all breathe the same air. We're all, you know, we're all kind of in this together. And I didn't always feel that way, you know. I was kind of stuck in the whole rat race, you know, with this, how this art scene can be sometimes, where it's very competitive, especially here in Chicago.
Doing what? Yeah, I get it. And those are the times where I always feel like I am too in my head, or I'm too like focused on that. And I think it's good to have like healthy competition, especially with yourself. You know, don't like be a masochist, but like, it's good to see other people and be like, damn, I want to do some cool shit too, but not let that like take you over.
Sure. And it's what do they say? Like, comparison is the kills
the thief of joy.
Comparison is the thief of joy. And with social media, it's hard sometimes not to compare. But
it's the whole thing.
That's the whole thing, is comparing. Yeah. And we have to understand that with social media, people are curating like their best foot forward. It's like their best angle, their best photos, their best clip from their show. And I think people are kind of getting tired of that. They want to see the missteps. They want to see the real story, in a sense. And I think things are kind of shifting, where they want to see you in a sense, just they want to see the come up too, not just the curated version of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm learning that every day too, because as a producer, as a fellow producer, we want things to look a certain way. We want it to we want to have certain mystique about us, in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
But I almost feel like that was like the old way of kind of doing things, the mysterious artist, in a sense. But
I agree.
Does that work all the time anymore? I mean, for some people, maybe
it'll come back or whatever. Sure. I feel you though, because like for a long time, even putting out music, it's like, it's not quite ready. That's like such a trope for producers. But even like with the podcast, there's like the way that it's templated, in the sense that it's like, this is episode 136 or whatever. Like, it would feel wrong to get rid of part of the history. And I think for myself, which is tough, because I look back on certain things and I'm like, why did I do it like that? But like, to have that kind of lineage and the progression, and I think for myself, some good advice that I've heard is just like, every video that you make something better about it.
Sure.
So I feel like as long as I'm continually doing that, I mean, that's really all you can do.
And there's a beauty in that. There's a beauty in seeing that come up.
Mm-hmm.
And, whether it's just the conversations, the production value, how you maybe even reflecting on things you learned from a prior podcast and kind of bringing that in to like a newer episode.
Dude, I love that.
That's like the best.
That's the what are you thinking about lately? Yeah, for sure. I mean, I have to edit the podcast and I'll listen back to it. So I get to hear it twice, and if it's a really good one, and maybe I'll even listen to it the day it releases and be like, does it sound good in the context that now it's on streaming? I try not to listen to it too much, because normally afterwards I'm like, I'm done with this combo. But it does reinforce, certain people say things that I really resonate with and start to use as like a operating system for at least a certain amount of time. So
I mean, when you document something, you document it for what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
for sure. Yeah, man. Well, this has been a fantastic conversation. I really appreciate all your viewpoints and all of that.
Same.
Want to give you the space to, if there was anyone, we shouted out some cool people. Fess, obviously, big name. Anyone also that maybe you'd want to shout out?
Just want to give a shout out to my family, all my friends, anyone who's like supported my music, anyone who's listened to any of my projects, watched any of my content. Just super humbled to be able to have the freedom to create and to continue to create. Excited to see where things go, and just want to show love to everyone out there and for supporting me. And the feeling is mutual. Word.
Yo, where can people find you?
So I am pretty active on my Instagram account. It's Gasper Gomez, GasperGomez. That's like a handle I've just had for like since I started it. Never wanted to change it. And then on streaming platforms, Shami Sosa, SHAMI SOSA. I just dropped a record a couple weeks ago on my birthday. It's called I've Never Told Anybody That Before. It's about 8 tracks, all produced by myself, and friends of mine featured on the tracks as well. But yeah, I'm here. I'm online. You can find me in Chicago. Find me at...
Come out to Parallel Play.
Come out to Parallel Play. Yep. Thank you for that one. Yeah, come out to Parallel Play. We're a learning center and listening room located in Humboldt Park, Chicago. Always curating cool events. I have my own pop-up series that I do there, but I also enjoy just giving the floor, giving the platform to others to kind of curate their vision, and it's fun to see that come alive. So you'll definitely see me there, whipping up coffee in the back or up in front, just cooling out, man, hanging.
Sick. Cool, man. Well, yeah, this is probably a long one. I don't think I'm going to edit too much of it, honestly, because I enjoyed a lot of it, and to stick to that sentiment of, like, the lineage.
Absolutely. Long live it.
Yeah. But, yo, if you guys made it this far, we appreciate you listening, and we'll catch you next time. Peace. Good shit. Yo, what's up, guys? This is your host, Jerry. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to like and subscribe. If there's someone you'd like to see on the show, leave a comment below. And if you're listening on a podcast platform, we'd appreciate it if you leave a review and hit that 5-star rating. Thank you for your support, and we'll catch you on the next one.